hope you have enjoyed this Easter Monday as I did. Today we are celebrating Easter Monday, but this whole weekend was a holy weekend for the Church of Christ. We celebrated on why Christ came to this world, um, and we are looking into the person of Jesus today. So stay tuned as we prepare our hearts to listen to God's word.
Silent as he stood accused, beaten, mocked, and scorned, bowing to the Father's will, he took a crown of thorns.
It is so easy to do something because you feel guilty. You just do it to clear your conscience. We do many things. We go to church to clear our conscience. We do it because we just don't want to feel, when we feel bad of ourselves, we do something in order to kind of make it right, if you can say it that way. We will usually, if you want the Easter egg that is not yours in the cupboard, you will take it, but you will leave the paper maybe there, just not to feel so guilty. Just to clear your conscience, you would say sorry, even though you would, to clear your conscience, you will say sorry even though you don't mean it. We usually say that we are not mad at the person, we just avoid them. In today's scripture, this is when we see when Jesus was on the cross, he didn't do anything just to clear his conscience. But we see it when he was hanging on the cross and having so much pain, he was calling out to God, Lord, Lord, why, my God, why have you forsaken me? And one of the soldiers ran and go dip the sponge into some vinegar just to ease the pain that is going on. But Jesus avoided or didn't want to drink. He wanted to experience all the pain, because it wasn't just dying on the cross, it was experiencing the temptation. Everything that he went through up till the cross is the consequences of sin. And this is what he wanted to teach us, that even though it's difficult to persevere in difficult circumstances, you need to go through. If you know what God's purpose is with your life, you would understand and persevere. So when he was on the cross, the soldiers gave him some wine, and after that, and this could have been because they felt sorry, because they were making fun of him the whole time. And when they heard him complaining and calling out to God, they realized he needed to have a lot of pain. And someone just came and just eased maybe their conscience by giving him some vinegar just to ease the pain. You see, that's what we sometimes do. We steal from ourselves because we go along with what other people expect from us. We call it sometimes peer pressure, but sometimes because people do certain things, we go along, we laugh along, we enjoy the company, but actually we don't see the hurt or the how much this could have affected Jesus, because he was hanging on the cross and hearing everybody making fun of him. And you need to know that it wasn't the cross that held Jesus on the cross. It was his love, his commitment to his purpose to come and die on the cross, which kept him on the cross. So the people went on and said to him, but why don't you come down? And if you come down, I will follow you. If you are the Son of God, come down and save us all. And they will follow him. But you see, it's sometimes we think that we just want God to just to show us one miracle, and then we will trust him, we will follow him. But how many miracles did Jesus show you before? How many things did he do before you made this agreement with him? Or he didn't even have to say anything, but he showed up when nobody else did. He made ways which you cannot explain, and still you want, when you're in a difficult situation, you want to see a miracle from God, getting you out of the situation. And God is teaching us that we shouldn't just pray that God, why deliver me from this? But actually we need to pray that God will, and ask him, why do you feel like he's not near you? Call him closer. Ask him, why are you experiencing this so much trials? What is the lesson that he wants you to learn? Because it's so easy to get rid of the pain or the difficult circumstances. But I promise you, God doesn't allow things to happen in our lives if he doesn't have a plan through it. Maybe this difficult circumstances that you're going through, this catch-22 that you're going through, is exactly what God is saying, that this is the only way that I can get your attention. Jesus was on the cross and he wanted to know, why is the Father so far from him? He didn't say, God, why did you make me do this? Why? He didn't ask him all this question and deliver him from it. But actually he just wanted God to get him closer, come closer to him. And we need to ask God to come closer. Where are you in this situation? And help us to get through it and not get out of it. Because when we get out of a situation, we did not learn the lesson. If someone is helping you out of getting your foot out of some clay or some wet sand, you will not learn how to get it out by yourself. You will always think on how I can support, how I can, someone else can help me. But God is actually just calling us to still stand and say, hello, I am here. And what you're going through, it's not because I forgot about you. It's actually just, I want you to ask me, where am I? What is your purpose in this whole situation? That everybody wanting to see if he was the Son of God, if he was the one that we were all waiting for. They wanted to see a miracle. But Jesus didn't give them what they wanted. You know how people ask you, sometimes when they say, if you don't do this, you are a sissy, or you are a girl, or you are scared. But it's actually peer pressure. It's something that you shouldn't do, or something that it determines your bravery. But we actually want to measure ourselves with others. When we call other people to lower their standards or challenge them to do something that they don't want to, we want them to be we want to see if we can be better than them. Because you know, when you're when you do sin and you tell someone, take a smoke, and you say that you're just a sissy, and you know taking a smoke is wrong, but if I allow someone else to come down with me, this will allow me not to be as bad, because then we are equal and there's not someone who's better than I am. Do you see what we're doing? We take people down with us instead of allowing people to lift up people and say, you can do this, and not just wanting to get from or want more from people, but actually to invest in them. It's amazing how Jesus on the cross didn't tell people, preach or tell them what they wanted to hear. Or when he was before his crucifixion, he said everything that he had to say. And in these difficult circumstances, in his catch-22, he was only focused on God. People were making fun of him. People were going on with him. People were casting lots over his clothes. People were saying all kinds of things. And Jesus didn't focus on what people said. He was just focused on the mission and why he is here. It's so easy to talk about our circumstances of our catch-22s, but shouldn't we just be quiet? Just have a conversation and learn to have conversations with our Father, to hear what is on his heart in this difficult time, instead of entertaining people in our difficult circumstances already. The other thing we have learned is that people wanted to see if Jesus is truly God, and they got that. People want to see if you are as good as you say that you are, or as you portrayed. Like I said, they want to bring you down. And if you do exactly what they expect, it lowers their standards. It lowers their expectation of you. But actually what we need to do is to not compare ourselves to what they want from us. People wanted to see that Jesus is God, and they got exactly that. But they wanted to see something different, him giving up. But we need to realize that when we don't give up, we show them exactly what they think, to persevere. To persevere is exactly what they expected of us. Jesus didn't entertain what was going on around him. The earth, everything around him, nature proclaimed that Jesus was God. You know how people usually say that if I don't testify today, the rocks, the stones will shout out his glory. Now, this is exactly what happened, that Jesus had so many followers, the disciples, but nobody stood up and said, but he is the Son of God. But when Jesus was hanging on the cross, there came a darkness, the heaviness of sin came over this world. And 3 in afternoon, and it just became dark. It wasn't night. The sun just went dark. It's like the creator of this world, who was hanging on the cross, had the power to blow out the sun, because he is the one who lit it up. So he could have just blew out like the fire of the sun, like a candle. It said that this world, that this what is happening, this darkness that is coming over this world, this sin, the death that Jesus experiences now, the separation of the Father and the Son is so big that the world is feeling it. The nature is feeling the intensity of it. The earth there was an earthquake at that time. The earth shook, that made the curtains of the temple to be torn. The thing that was separating us was torn. The earthquake that was taking place didn't shook Jesus off the cross. Instead, it's almost like God the Father could have breathed again, and he's just, for the first time, he could say, finally, my son made a solution to the sin. You see, we don't see that sin is so serious anymore. We think that sin lost its power, or it's not as bad anymore because Jesus already died on the cross for it. But The same God that was in the temple and the holies of holies is the same God that is amongst us. The same God that was only needed, the priest could only make sacrifices to him once a year in the holies of holies, or being in his presence once a year, is amongst us now. And we act as if sin lost its power. Sin lost its power on the children of Jesus. Death didn't hold Jesus in the ground, or didn't hold him on this earth. He died and he rose again. And this is the Easter that we're celebrating. If you know, my grandmother loves God with all her heart. She, as long as I remember, she is a woman who feared God with everything in her life. But every night before she prays, she confesses all her sin. She asks God to forgive her because she has dwelled oft again today. She committed sin which made him disappointed. And I thought to myself, my goodness, my grandma, I don't even know what sin she commits. And she is begging God to forgive her. And we who sin daily in our sinful lives, we live in sin, in this darkness, this heaviness, and we expect to think that it's not as heavy anymore. We thought that it's easier for us to get to Jesus now, to the Father, which is true. We can go through the Son, through the cross, what we celebrated on Good Friday, but that sin, we cannot live like we as we want to, because Jesus died on the cross. Sin still have its consequences. Today we have a choice, because the holy God that was only in the temple allowed the curtain to be torn, so that you and me can experience God's presence on a daily basis, every minute of the day. But if we don't realize the impact of sin, we will live in this darkness, this everlasting darkness that Jesus experienced just for 3 hours. We will experience for the rest of our lives in eternity, if you do not realize the seriousness of sin. Jesus did save us from our sins, but you and me, we need to confess and realize that we made sin a bit light. We made sin beautiful. No, it's just a small white lie. I don't hate him, I just avoid him. I just envy you, but it's actually being jealous. And we think that it's not sin. It's just small sins. No, sin is sin. And this is the reason why Jesus was on the cross. Sin was so serious that God had many years ago, when he chose Noah to build an ark and to destroy all humankind and just saved his family. That's how angry God was when humans were sinning, and as if it was nothing. And we expect that sin is different. Sin is serious, but Jesus Christ saved us. We are saved sinners. That's the difference. And today, when we celebrate Easter Monday, we could have enjoyed our Easter eggs and have a nice holiday today. But if we do not understand what Jesus did yesterday, the fact that he rose from the dead, the thing that held us, that everybody is fearing, the thing that everybody do not want to think or hear about. Jesus freed us from that because he delivered us from sin. Like I said earlier, that the same God that was only in this temple, in the holies of holies, that was so holy that only one priest can go in once a year, that needed to do certain rituals in order to go in, is amongst us now. Our responsibility now is we need to live in such a way on a daily basis so that we can experience the presence of God, to live in his presence, because we are children of God. We don't have to go to a temple anymore, but we still need to be amongst Christians. That's important. But he's not just at the church. He is with me now. And if I know that the same holy God that is holy, that when someone who was unclean would touch the curtain would fell dead, that same God is living amongst us. This encouraged me to live a holy life, because if he is that holy, I want to go closer to him. And I know I can do it only through Jesus Christ. We can experience his presence. We can experience what he has done for us by the price that Jesus already paid. Don't live a life that's this darkness, this heaviness of sin, the struggle in this dark circumstances, to live in something that Jesus already paid. And you can have a free life. You just need to choose and to realize that there is no small sin, but there is only one God, one holy God, and one way to him. Amen.
It is paid in full by the precious blood that my Jesus spilled. Now the curse of sin has no hold on me. Whom the Son sets free, oh, is free